create vitality and enthusiasm in healing. We are here for you when you need us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services. Friday morning on KSJE, and you're listening to the Scott Michlin Morning Program. In just a moment, I'll introduce my guests from the San Juan County C.A.S.A program, but first a big welcome to folks who are watching the program today on the KSJE Facebook page and the new KSJE YouTube channel. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. We are in our visual radio studio, and joining me here is Amy O'Neill, who is the program director for C.A.S.A in San Juan County. Amy, good morning again.
Good morning, Scott.
Good to have you here, as always, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Also here in the studio with us now is Keba Gorman, and Keba is the advocate coach for the C.A.S.A program. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thanks for having us.
You bet. And we have another intern from the C.A.S.A program from right here at San Juan College, and that's Ruby Bingham, who is here with us this morning as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. And so Amy, let me turn back to you and talk a little bit about the training that is coming up, and this takes place twice a year, as we've said, and the one coming up now is in October, and it's about a week long, correct?
About 10 days. Covers
10
about
days,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. And so it's designed for about 40 hours, right, for folks?
30 hours total with the court observation.
I couldn't be more wrong. So I'm glad that you're here.
So the good thing is 40, we don't want to scare anyone off. But
That is very true. That's very true. But it takes place over at the United Way building?
Yes, United Way has a great conference room, which they allow us to use for no fee, and so we're very thankful to the United Way. That will start on Wednesday, October 17th. It'll be 5 nights from 5:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m., and then one all-day Saturday, October 20th.
Okay, very good. And you sent me all kinds of information ahead of our interview that I do not even have in front of me, or else I wouldn't be so off the mark on some of these questions that I should know, because we've been talking about this for years, and unfortunately, because it's an issue that our community needs. But with that training, though, because I think when a lot of folks think about, advocating for a child who's in the foster care system and dealing with courts and all these serious life topics, I think a lot of folks feel that they're unprepared to maybe take on this job, because it's so very, very important, and the training is kind of what's designed to give them the tools that they need before they go into that situation, and so they feel more prepared to deal with what they're going to be encountering over the next 6 to 12 months or even longer, I suppose.
Yes, and tools, that's a very good term to use, because we say that every trainee has tools in their toolkit through their life experiences. And then we add to those tools so that they have more tools to be a good C.A.S.A volunteer. And we're very lucky to have experts in the field of child welfare that train the C.A.S.A volunteers about what goes on here in San Juan County.
Right, and a lot of times it's the same people that these volunteers will see later, maybe in the courtroom. It's the same individuals that come to the training that folks see later on in these cases, right?
Exactly. So from the judges to the attorneys to the social workers, then the C.A.S.A volunteer feels a little more comfortable that first time they're in court to do their court observation.
Right. Very good. And Keba, let me turn to you a little bit and ask you about your experiences with the C.A.S.A program and being the advocate coach, and it's your job kind of to go out and talk about the opportunities available to be a C.A.S.A volunteer?
Yes, yes. So I go out and I work with the community to try to actually, find new potential volunteers who would want to be a C.A.S.A. I go out to, work around San Juan County, of course, and we definitely work with the different organizations, the different, just the different companies who are willing to want to be involved, especially with, we definitely email the volunteers that we currently have to see if even if they have family or friends that would want to be a C.A.S.A member.
Right.
So it's really important to get the word out there, because like we said before, we have more kids, and we definitely need more volunteers at this time.
Right, true. And when you're talking to folks out in the community, what's one of the biggest questions that they have for you? Are they pretty familiar with the program, or is maybe that's the first they've heard about it when you start talking to them?
Yes, a lot of the times it is what does C.A.S.A stand for,
Mm-hmm.
and of course it's Core Point Special Advocates.
Right.
And then they hear that and it's, a mouthful.
Right, right.
And so you kind of have to go in depth and tell them, what we do versus a regular community volunteer. We are a special trained volunteer to be appointed for child and be their voice really in the community to give them the permanency that they need.
Right.
So it's a great program. We definitely encourage it to anybody who doesn't know about it. And when we do talk about it, everybody, it gets the interest because, we love children and they want to be part of the growth and the change for them. So it is an exciting movement whenever you do talk to somebody that doesn't potentially really know what C.A.S.A is.
Right. Very good. And let me turn to our intern who's with us this morning, Ruby Bigham, who goes to school right here down the hall at San Juan College. And Ruby, talk to me a little bit about your experiences so far with an intern with the C.A.S.A program. How's it been so far?
It's been great. I actually got to attend the training in the spring. Mm-hmm. Which was awesome because it's a very comprehensive training. There's so much information that they give you because you go in going, oh my gosh, I can't speak for children. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going into a courtroom. What? Judges are going to listen to me? And then they really help. They help you feel like you're confident to go in there, and then you get to see all the people who are involved in the case. And once you see them and you go, oh, I know you, so you know people when you go into the courtroom. It's not as scary when you go in there. It's been really awesome, though, just getting to see how the C.A.S.As advocate for children.
Sure. And you're studying what here at San Juan College?
I'm getting my Associates of Human Services.
Okay. And you hope to do what with that in a few years?
Get my bachelor's and master's and go into social work.
Got it. Very good. And so with that, and you've been with the training, and so after the training now, what types of work are you doing as an intern with the C.A.S.A program?
I'm helping them with keeping up with cases and going over the information and making sure it's all up to date and ready to go for the C.A.S.A volunteers when they come in. Got you.
Okay. Very, very good. Amy O'Neill, let me come back to you a little bit and talk a little bit about having interns and others in the office to work with you and the other C.A.S.A volunteers to help keep all this running, because again, it's a lot of work and there's very few staff in the C.A.S.A program. That's a lot of volunteers, isn't it?
Yes, so right now we have 48 assigned volunteers, and we have some volunteers we're hoping to assign in the next few months. So we are proud that Kemba also did her internship through San Juan College with Child Haven. So we're very happy to have her back at Child Haven with the San Juan C.A.S.A program. So I think that students at San Juan College can see that doing the service learning hours and the internships really does let you learn about different agencies in the community. You can see what you're interested in, what you think like, oh, that might be not a good niche for me, and you have that experience later to say, I learned this at my internship, to when you're interviewing for other jobs. Indeed, very, very true. And again, you mentioned that the training, it's about 30 hours over the course of about 10 days, 2 weeks or so. Yes, yes. And as we said earlier with Scott, we have a new judge with the abuse and neglect cases. Judge Marsh has most of the cases right now. Judge Townsend still has one case, and Judge Weaver has helped us too with many cases in the courtroom. So on our new brochure, you'll see Judge Marsh is featured with a quote and a photo swearing in some new C.A.S.A volunteers. So we're very thankful for the support of the children's court judges. Our job is to paint a picture through the C.A.S.A court reports for the judge. That's what the C.A.S.A volunteer is really doing, right? Is providing the judge with some of these third-party, if you will, reports, right? Yes, and the report does go to the whole team, but we are considered a friend of the court in that really the job the C.A.S.A volunteer is doing is so that the judge has more information. So all the times that the C.A.S.A volunteer is attending any meetings, visiting with their C.A.S.A child, observing family visits, all that is to report back to the judge in their C.A.S.A court report. Got you. And the judges, I think, in the past have said how important or how helpful those C.A.S.A reports have been to them when they have to come right down to it and make that final decision as to where this child is going to be living for the next
17 years or however old they are, right?
For sure. The CA.S.A report is able to paint more of a picture for the judge, and we're quite proud that Judge Townsend is our chief judge right now, and actually Judge Townsend was one of the people who started the CA.S.A program in San Juan County.
Wow, very nice. And so with this being said, I mean, a lot of times, I don't want to say the CA.S.A report maybe has swayed the judge, but it certainly helps the judge make their decision, I suppose, by having that to consider with all the other evidence that the judge is hearing over the course of however long this case is in their system, right?
Yes. So the CA.S.A volunteer makes recommendations in their court report based on the facts that they have presented. So lately we have been working with the judges to go over those recommendations, and that way, if it's something that's not being worked on at this time, maybe the judge said, I feel that's for later, or say, is this being followed up, or I see by the evidence today that this is being worked on. Thank you for working on this recommendation, and we're able to make sure that things that the CA.S.A volunteer has asked about are addressed.
And help us understand maybe how this works in the system, because again, as we mentioned, these cases can go on maybe 12 months, so we're talking about a year, and so perhaps there's things that the judge asks maybe the parents to do, and the CA.S.A volunteer is then maybe kind of talking to the parents to see how they're doing with those guideposts or mileposts that the judges kind of prescribe to them, and then report back to the court, I suppose.
Exactly. So there is a court-ordered treatment plan for the parents to follow to make recommendations or to make progress, and those are based on recommendations from service providers in the community. So those are the experts that assess what if there's a substance abuse problem, or if there's a domestic violence incident, something like that. How can things move forward for the parents to gain skills to take care of their children safely? So reunification is always the first goal for an abuse and neglect case. Every child we meet wants to go home. And so we are hopeful that the parents can follow their treatment plan and make those safety changes. And right now we have a lot of relatives going forward as foster parents, which is really good, because if the parents cannot complete their treatment plan, hopefully we have those relatives that can take care of the child as either a permanent guardianship or an adoption.
My guest this morning from the San Juan County CA.S.A program, we are talking about the need for more CA.S.A volunteers, and the next CA.S.A training will be coming up in a little over a month from when we're speaking this morning, so that's important for folks to know. There's an application packet that you can get from the CA.S.A office and fill that out to get kind of a head start before the training and to get some of those things done. I imagine that application has to be filled out before they come to a training, Amy O'Neill.
Yes, so please give us a call at 505-325-5358, extension 6. We'll go to the CA.S.A office and we will get that information to you right away.
Okay, very good. And there's a lot of success stories, aren't there, from all the years that you and I have been talking about the CA.S.A program, and all the years the CA.S.A program has been founded here in San Juan County. I mean, there are a lot of children who have had a CA.S.A volunteer advocate for them in front of the judge in the courts, right?
Yes, to reach a safe and permanent home. We were teasing a CA.S.A volunteer the other day because she seems to only advocate for boys. So she's a retired teacher, and she has been able to see several cases where the boys have reached a safe and permanent home with either relatives or returning to other relatives. So she hasn't seen a reunification in her 3 or 4 cases, but we do have many reunifications that have happened. One volunteer was keeping in touch to bring school supplies to those children who had returned to their mom, and the mom was very happy to hear from the advocate, who knew that having extra school supplies is always helpful.
Right.
And actually we can say a big thank you to Dollar Tree. Both Dollar Trees in San Juan County partnered with the CA.S.A program, so people coming through donated school supplies, and
nice.
We have been getting those out to at-risk children in San Juan County.
Oh, very nice. Well, that's part of what makes San Juan County so special, isn't it? These folks that do that and the businesses that do that as well. And I imagine a lot of times, too, the children that have a CA.S.A volunteer working on their behalf, they develop a relationship with the volunteer that lasts a lifetime.
Yes, because even that teacher, she was telling me, I'm going to see so-and-so when I go this way. And so I said, well, take a bag of school supplies. And so it is interesting to see the relationships. And again, that volunteer who the children had all gone home, she was happy to see things were still going well. And that does develop into something. We had one girl just turned 18. She's continuing in independent living, but she's keeping in touch with her CASA volunteer. And
very good. Well, let me turn back to Keba Gorman for just a moment, who is the advocate coach and goes around and talks a little bit about recruiting more folks for CASA volunteer opportunities and things like that. And so as you travel around and talk to different people, tell us a little bit more about what their questions are and what keeps them from maybe signing up right then and there, because it is a big responsibility.
Yes, it is. So, of course, everybody, their one concern is their schedules as well. And they definitely ask how many times how many hours, how many times do I have to do visits? Of course, we ask at least 10 hours is what we would like to see.
A month, right?
Yes, a month. And at least a face-to-face visit. And we do have kids that are not located here in Farmington either. Some of them are in Albuquerque.
Okay.
So our volunteers are very good, and luckily we have FaceTime these days, and so that makes it easy for them to still be able to see them, and also for that child to be able to see their face and not just a voice as well.
Right. So sometimes a phone call is okay, but you'd prefer face-to-face, and that could be a video conference or something electronic, I suppose, and not necessarily in person.
Yeah, yeah. And some of our volunteers also do take the time to actually go down and drive down, which is awesome of them to do. And so we do ask that they try, but it's not a requirement either. The other thing is, you have to get trained, and so with that, you also get that, do I have to do a background? And it's like, well, yeah, you do. And so, but it's just because, we're working with kids, so just to keep that in mind for everybody.
Sure.
We definitely want to make sure that we have great people around these kids, especially given that their background can be, highly extensive from just the different exposures.
Of course.
So the other thing, I guess, would be, can I take them out in the community to do things? And so, no,
that sounds like Big Brother, Big Sisters.
Yes.
This is a little different.
Yeah, this is a little different. But we do ask that, they go in the home, they interact, they'll be with, their foster families, and the foster families that we have are great. They definitely give them what they need and meet their needs, and so they'll go in and work with them, and some of them have siblings, and so we have games that we offer to our volunteers to take for the kids, and we have different books that they can read with them, and they visit from anywhere to an hour.
Nice. And it seems to me there's always a lot of resources that the volunteers have access to if they run into something that maybe they're a little stumped by, even with all the training and things along that you all at the office are always accessible to help a volunteer to get through or work through a certain situation, whatever that may happen to be.
Yes. And we do have, of course, we get lots of donations in the community, so we also do offer the kids, if it's a birthday, we do have gifts that our volunteers do take to, just as a special incentive, like, here you go, happy birthday. And so those are special milestones that we also like to be part of as well. So we definitely are there to be support and to just kind of be their loving touch at the time.
Right. Very, very important. And Amy O'Neill, as we get close to the end of our program today, when the volunteer is going in to meet with the foster parents, perhaps, or maybe with the parents, a lot of what they do is just kind of observe and look around, and the idea to have a face-to-face meeting or maybe check out the home, and maybe there's still some conditions in the home that haven't been addressed or that have been addressed, but that's all part of what their report would contain, I suppose.
Yes, and we would never want a volunteer to do something they felt uneasy about, so maybe they are going to visit the mom's home to see if things are ready for the child to come home, and they may visit with the social worker or with their supervisor. So every CASA volunteer has a supervisor, either Becky or myself, and so they always have someone to call, even if it's after hours, and we would go with them on a visit that they might feel uneasy see about for the
Right.
first time. So, and usually we're not moving to reunification in the home really quickly. If it's become a legal abuse and neglect case, then usually it takes a little bit of time, because Children, Youth, and Families Department lately has been very good about working with resources at the front end. So investigations are getting lots more resource work with Desert View with the Family Support Program.
Right. But that just goes to show how much support there is from the office, from supervisors like yourself, to go with the volunteer if they feel that that's necessary.
Yes, because we do want to see any home that may be a permanent home for the child.
Right.
We want to be able to give our input and say, school isn't far, they can walk, take the bus, and be able to ask those questions. Okay, what were you planning about daycare if you're working? What were you planning about different things?
Okay, very good. Ruby, let me go one more time to you and ask you a little bit about your message to other maybe San Juan College students about being an intern, or what you've learned from your experiences with the C.A.S.A program to prepare you for your future career.
Oh, it's amazing. I love going to C.A.S.A. I'm so glad I got to be their intern, because they don't take on too many, but
Right.
when you get in, you get to be exposed to so much information. It really helps you know where you want to go, because they help you see different parts of social work. Because there's so many options to us when we go out into the field that sometimes it's scary trying to pick what you want to do for a living, and they really help you get to see the different parts of it and be
Right.
involved in the community and really get the access that you need.
Very true. And has this kind of reinforced your career path and while you're here at San Juan College and what you plan to do with your degree?
Yes, it's actually helped me kind of narrow down what I wanted to do. When I first went into my degree, I was just like, oh, there's too many options, but it's really helped me narrow down the field I want to go into.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Amy O'Neill, again, if you wouldn't mind sharing again the phone number and what folks need to do to get that application packet, or if they have any more questions that we've raised during this program that they would like you to answer for them before they fill out the application to become a C.A.S.A volunteer in advance of the training in October. What's that number?
Yes, so please give us a call at 505-325-5358. That is the Child Haven number, and you press 6 to come to the C.A.S.A program. You can also go to the Child Haven website, childhavennm.org, and learn more about Child Haven, and you can see some awesome photos from the C.A.S.A and also see the information packet there too.
Okay, very good. And again, the training will start in October, around the
October 17th is the first night, so we're Wednesday and Thursday that first week, again 5:30 to 9, all day Saturday, October 20th, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the next week.
Okay, very good. And folks can get all that information again by calling you at the C.A.S.A offices.
Yes, and check the website too if you'd like to go to the Child Haven website.
Very true. All right. Amy, thank you so much.
Well, we appreciate you, Scott. Thank you for having us.
Well, it's always great to have all of you here and to learn all about the C.A.S.A program and the work that you are doing in our community, because it's much needed, and we need more C.A.S.A volunteers because there are children who are waiting, right?
There are. We need more volunteers.
Okay. Thank you all very much. My guest from the San Juan County C.A.S.A program here on KSJE.